Okay, so here we're on the idea of compositions of functions. So composition, what this really means is we're plugging one function into another function. And the way we read this is we say g of f of negative 2. G of f of negative 2. And we evaluated exactly how you might think. We plug negative 2 into f, and then whatever we get, we plug into g. We'll do that now. We'll be like, okay, f of negative 2 is 5 times negative 2 plus 4, which is negative 6, right? So g of f of negative 2 would be equal to g of negative 6, because I've now replaced f of negative 2 with its result, negative 6. So now to finish, I do g of negative 6, which means I'm plugging in negative 6 for all of this. So negative 6 squared minus 6 times negative 2 minus 13, which gives me 35 as my result. So that's my final answer. And then the point I want to make here is just the order matters, right? So g of negative 2, so notice this is now backwards. It's the opposite of what I gave you up here. So we'd read this as f of g of negative 2. And that means we take g of negative 2 first, which is what I get when I plug negative 2 into g, which you get negative 2 squared is 4, plus 12 is 16, minus 13 is 3. And then, so this is going to be equal to f of 3, which is equal to 5 times 3 plus 4, which gives you 19. Okay, so order matters here. F of g of negative 2 is not the same as g of f of negative 2. Okay, now here we read this as g of f of x. Okay, and the difference obviously from the last thing is that we don't have an x value, right? We just have plain old x. So we're looking for a formula for this. So notice g is on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite g, but I'm going to leave some space, right? So I'm taking out my x and making parentheses. And then every time I had an x before, I'm actually just going to put my function f. And I simplify, right? So I'm going to be boom, boom, and I get 10x plus 60 plus 10. And then we want to work on this. And remember, this is not this. Like, that's an illegal move. What we need to do is square it. So square it means multiply it by itself. And some of you can do this in your head, but if you can't do this in your head, use a Punnett square, right? So negative 2x times negative 2x, 2 times negative 2x, 2 times negative 2x, and 2 times 2. That is equivalent to negative 2x plus 2 squared. So I substitute that in, 4x squared minus 8x I get, right, plus 4 plus 10x, and then I just combine my like terms. So altogether I have 74 is my constants, right? So 4 plus 60 plus 10. And then my x's go together. I have 2 of them. So I have 2x plus 74, and then 4x squared is just shown. Okay, so that is my result. Oops. And that is g of f of x. So I could say g of f of x, the composition of the two is equal to 4x squared plus 2x plus 74. Okay, and notice the order matters. So if I had f of g of x like this, I would plug g into f, and it would actually be quite a bit easier because there's no squared term that I have to deal with.